In the heart of a quiet American family, a seed of suspicion had been planted. Bryan Kohberger, a man of scholarly stature and an avid pursuer of knowledge, stood accused of a heinous crime. The victims, 4 University of Idaho students, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The 4 young lives have been violently extinguished, found stabbed to death in their off-campus house in Moscow, Idaho, the tragic night of November 13th. For weeks, investigators found themselves wandering in a nebulous labyrinth of clues with no visible path leading to the murderer, or so it seemed. However, in the midst of the turmoil, an unexpected thread emerged. This thread took its roots in the Kohberger family's holiday reunion. Bryan's sister, older and familiar with her brother's personality, began to perceive a sinister undercurrent beneath his outward demeanor. The air around him seemed to ripple with an unsettling aura, fueling her suspicion. The scene of this unsettling discovery was Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, where Bryan Kohberger, a 28-year-old criminology PhD student at Washington State University, had returned to celebrate the holiday season with his family. Yet what was supposed to be a heartwarming reunion soon became a breeding ground for suspicion and fear. His sister's suspicions were sparked by a series of puzzling behaviors Bryan had started to exhibit. Preoccupation with latex gloves, constant, almost obsessive. Their presence was not confined to outdoor activities, but extended within the familial abode as well. Bryan's sister, this seemed far from normal, even bordering on the eerie. That particular habit, combined with an ominous revelation. Bryan lived but a few miles away from the crime scene at the time of the gruesome murders. He was the owner of a white Hyundai Elantra, a vehicle identical in description to the one linked to the crime scene. To Bryan's sisters, this couldn't just be a coincidence. It was like a puzzle was being put together, pieces falling ominously into place. The realization was terrifying enough for her to rally her family into action, urging them to search Bryan's car for any traces of the crime. However, by then, Bryan had reportedly been seen out there cleaning his vehicle with bleach, leaving no trace of any possible evidence. How much Bryan knew about his family's mounting suspicion remains unclear, as does the nature of his prior behavior that would make his own flesh and blood believe him capable of such a monstrous act. Fast forward to the waning days of the year, December 30th to be precise, law enforcement descended upon Kohberger's household, arresting Bryan in connection with the murders. At that moment, Bryan was in the kitchen wearing those latex gloves, his every action mirroring his peculiar preoccupation. He was about to discard his personal waste in a neighbor's trash bin, an act that seemed oddly out of place. With charges of first-degree murder and burglary levied against him, Bryan was to face his day in court on May 22nd. His preliminary hearing, originally scheduled for a week-long period starting June 26th, was canceled when a grand jury indicted him. The mystery of Bryan's motive, his connection, if any, to the victims, and his actions leading up to the alleged murder still hang like a specter over the case. Nevertheless, there are haunting clues that connect Bryan to the murder scene. His DNA discovered on a knife sheath left behind, and footage of his white Hyundai Elantra captured near the crime scene just moments after it took place. Moreover, court documents revealed chilling evidence from Bryan's apartment and a rented storage unit. 2 items tested positive for blood, a mattress cover, and an uncased pillow, both spotted with reddish-brown stains, the origin of which remains undisclosed. Other seized items included potential strands of human and animal hair, a disposable glove, and a computer. Strangely, the murder weapon, a fixed-blade knife, remained elusive, adding to the cloud of mystery surrounding this case. Let's delve a bit into Bryan Kohberger's background. As a PhD student in criminal justice at Washington State University, Bryan was geographically close to his alleged victims, residing just 15 minutes across the Idaho-Washington border in Pullman. Before relocating, he had been studying in Pennsylvania and had only recently completed his first semester at WSU before the arrest. Kohberger's academic path was a curious one, as it was eerie as well, given the accusations. His studies had taken him under the wing of renowned forensic psychologist Kathleen Ramsland at DeSales University, an expert who had interviewed the infamous BTK serial killer and co-authored a book based on his confessions. Kohberger had even taken up a research project aimed at understanding the influence of emotions and psychological traits on decision-making during the commission of a crime. These academic pursuits, though innocuous on their own, now cast a chilling shadow in light of the horrific charges against him. Now Bryan Kohberger is staring down the barrel of a life sentence or the death penalty. The tragedy of November 3rd has left an indelible scar on the quaint village of Moscow. Shockwaves of the event have ricocheted across the nation, leaving a trail of heartbreak and fear in their wake. In this tale and in this specific new chapter in the story, Bryan's sister emerges as a pivotal figure. Her gut feeling, her rising suspicion against her own brother, set the gears in motion, leading the investigation in a direction it might not have taken otherwise. The bond of family was strained and tested under the weight of suspicion, leading to the chilling discovery that would potentially solve a gruesome mystery and provide some semblance of closure to a mourning community. The tale is a stark reminder of the grim reality that sometimes evil may lurk much closer than we imagine. As it continues to unfold, we can only hope for justice to prevail, bringing peace to the victims' families and a very shaken community. We'll, of course, continue to cover it for you right here on the podcast. Be sure to press subscribe so you don't miss any breaking updates or discussions on the case as it continues to develop. My name is Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.